when we talk about the Muslim Ummah in a wider perspective, particularly when the Muslim countries are around 57 recognized and acknowledged countries and states, either they are the smaller ones or the vaster ones, but after all they are the Muslim countries and have their independent right, their sovereignty. And but when we talk about Islam and culture, all the Muslim countries, either they are the Iraqi, Iranian, or Palestinian, Arabian, or Iraq, Iran, and Syria. So whatever the countries are, after all they are the Muslim countries. And but when we say about Islam and culture, so wherever we see and penetrate into the affairs of any of the state of Islam, there is Islam, but the culture is of the same country. For example, Iraq, the way they developed and nourished and went through the different turmoils and the passages of the history, we could say they have been the Iraqian and they have been the Iraqian culture. They might have not adopted all of the Islamic culture. In the same manner, where we talk about the Persia portion, Iranian have their culture, have their background, have their history. But since when they embraced Islam, they might have not been going with the true legacies of Islam as a culture. In the same manner, if we talk about Libya, if we talk about Syria, if we talk about Yemen, these have been the countries and the sovereign states in the periods of the caliphates and the period of Holy Prophet Muhammad, the last prophet of the universe, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They were all the countries and the states and having their names since centuries and they have been going through with different kinds of cultures. But Islam never have been in one shape or in a one phase of its dimension of a culture. What's Islamic culture? Islamic culture mean by your appearance, you are known by that this one is Islamic culture. The way the Arabian country or the Saudian or the Saudi Arabias or the Arab countries do wear and put on the garment and their outward wearings is the Arabian culture. That's not the Muslim culture. Muslim culture should be somewhat organized one and somewhat have a unity in all across the Islamic world. For example, having beard is a Islamic part of Islamic culture. If you are not having beard, it means you are not following the face of Islam. And if you do not follow the women, if do not wear on or put on the veil on their head and face, we would not say that they are the part of the Islamic culture. So you can say long hair to some extent are also called or considered to be the teachings of Islam and the teachings of the you can say Islamic culture. So in a broader perspective, what's the Islamic culture? So what do we wear, and what do we follow in the garments and in outer appearance? That's that's the having beard on your face, and you can say veil on your face, and having long hair. When men have long hairs, it's considered to be the part of Islamic culture. If you are clean shaven, you can't be embraced, you can't be, you can say, acknowledged as a Muslim. Though at heart and at belief you are the Muslim, and if you do not put on the veil on your face, being a Muslim woman, it doesn't mean you are not a Muslim. At heart you could be a Muslim, but as far as culture is concerned, somewhat you should have outwardness and outward wearing that could indicate that you belong to such and such religion and such, you can say, culture. When you are having beard on your face, long hair on your head, and a veil on your face, being a Muslim lady, you could be called that you represent to Islam and you represent to Muslim world. And then in Islam there is no, you can say, room for music and dance. Whatever the shape of or the kind of dance and music is, that's not the part of Islam. Islam doesn't, you can say, recommend or does not, you can say, ask anyone to qualify for music and dance classes or to be learned on, to be promoted on. So Islam is divided off or above the dance and the music, and then you can say we do not belong to them. Largely you can say cultures depend on what kind of what kind of, you can say, you have the dance and what kind of you have the music. That is considered to be the part of the country. Part of the country could be a state or any society. But Islam, in a broader perspective, doesn't encourage dancing and you can say, as I have considered, music that makes you independent at the spirit and soul. As the way how to be independent at the spirit and soul level, going at the highest ascension. Though some are of the opinion that the music is the representative and the voice of the heart and the voice of the mind. To some extent, some sophists and mystics heard Nahat and Qawwali, you could say, as it was present in singing. The Hindus and some tribes were already at the practice, and people amused to it and got attention to it. And then the mystics of Islam, when they came into subcontinent, they basically praised the Almighty Allah and His Prophet, and gave some, you can say, anecdotes and put some anecdotes in the qawwali or the high string voicing to the people in a singing mode, so that people could get attracted or affected. But basically Islam never, or any holy religion, the heavenly religion, the religion or the altars that are truly representing God, never encouraged dancing and you can say the music to invite the attention of the people into yourself. Though at the individual level, such steps could be taken, but we can't say for sake of preaching, the dance and the music could be included as a package to invite the attention of the larger section of the sitting audience, so that they could come to know that they are in Iraq, they are in Iran, they are in Syria, they are in Yemen, they are in Saudi, and they are in some part of the Islamic world, and those countries have such and such ways of the dancing and kinds of the you can say music, and these are all rubbish and trash in the eye of Almighty Allah, in the eye of the religion. Though just to entertain the people at the dispirited level, if somewhere are like to be heard such music, so that they could come to know and come to know their soul or mind and heart to melt it away. But if some voices or words are there, such words which could turn your mind and make you intoxicated and turn your mind into bodily ecstasy or extension or somewhat association, that is not permitted. As the true teachings never ever, you can say, encourage the persons to hear music and go for dancing, so that you could feel free and fair. So such attempts are made on, and such things are put in, but that not represent that could represent to the country, to the values, traditional values and the customary values and history. But when we talk for Islamic and religious point of view, no religion, no holy orders encourage and that you should follow the tradition and you should follow the set patterns of dancing in any part of the world. So here you can say dressings comes in their own way, music comes in own way, dancing comes in own way, and then some kinds of sports also come in their backgrounds and cultures, and international sportsmen, you could say, that have its own way of dressing and way of playing. That also is an international, you can say, patterning that would also not be the part of the Islamic world. Whenever we say Islam or the Christianity or the Jews, they give somewhat independent approach and makes a person devoid of any emotional circuit to be charged, and a person could be made allured and made attractive and made motivated to go higher and for a better performance or better presentation. They could give on to the various settings, to the backgrounds. So every country and every, you can say, state represents to its own customs and its own traditions and its own, you can say, maneuvering. But we would keep them at their own circuit, at their own background. We would not, you can say, stretch them out to reach them the other countries' traditions and customs and traditions, particularly when they are to go after to make patterning. So different things undergo to the different dimensions into different demonstrations, and they depend at their own resource and their own customs, but it all depends how they are to be defined in their true perspective. So we can't label it and can't charge with a particular kind of visioning or intuitioning that could come from music and dancing. So in Islamic perspective, there is a legacy of every country that's a Muslim country, but they are all time going with their national, you can say, traditions and national, you can say, representations of either the sports and the dressings and the, you can say, the wearings or whatsoever they are. But it's all the national representations that they are Pakistani, they are the Indians, being Muslim, they are the Iraqis, they are the Iranis, they are the Syrians, they are the Saudis. It all, we could say, that could be a national song, a national, you can say, dancing culture. But when we talk about Islam and its perspective, Islam has a wider eye and goes beyond the national boundaries and national, you can say, boundings and national, you can say, chanting that makes everyone go above the borders and go above the circuiting and go above at such levels where code of ethics and set standards of moralities must have a sharing that Islam stands for provision of the equal opportunities for every citizen of the Islamic world, either that is living in Iran, living in Syria, living in Yemen, living in Iraq, living in Saudi, living in Bangladesh, living in Pakistan, wherever a Muslim is living, that would not be called as a Iraqi or Syrian or Pakistani, rather that would be called a Muslim, Muslim from Pakistan, Muslim from Saudi, Muslim from Iran, a Muslim from this and that country. There you can say Islam demands equal opportunity and the provision of the chances so that everyone could rise to get rights of education, employment on the equal grounds. These are the two things that is the fundamental duty of any country and the state, that they are to provide it with the basic education, even overall, you can say, educations, and then the provisions of the such infrastructure from which they could be built up and they could be made able at how they are to rise to the highest orders of their country and to serve it. But as far as the levels of skills and education is concerned, it is the foremost and fundamental duty of the state that's to honor it. So we could say that the Muslim world as a whole, covering all the countries and all the citizens of the Islamic world, would be representative to the Islamic world, and they must have the one-faced strategy, one-faced, you can say, economy, one-faced army, one-faced Islamic syllabus. They must have one-faced Islamic culture. So culture should not come from the national background. Culture should not come from the territorial or regional grounds. Rather, it should come from the Islamic world and Islamic prints, and all the Muslim Ummah's top, you can say, echelons of the Islamic intellectuals, they could sit together and they could decide about what kind of the Islamic culture could be there. So when we talk to this one, this all comes on the level of cultures.